Good evening and welcome to another moving forward edition of Elmira Baptist Church Update. It is October 24th, 2020, and I know you're dying to find out if we're meeting outside or inside tomorrow. Some of you are wondering, what do we do about this one? But just a minute. First, I want to read to you a story called Kiss and Tell. Student-to-student worker Nancy Patterson had a favorite question she would use as an icebreaker to get new students talking about themselves during the first week at the University of Central Arkansas. Quote, "Do you remember your first kiss?" The question usually evoked fond memories in some students and laughter in others, but one day a student's answer yielded surprising and life-changing results. That student was freshman Becky Nichols. "Becky, tell me about your first kiss," Nancy said while they were visiting. After thinking a few minutes, Becky remembered it well. "My family was living in Batesville, Arkansas. I was in a church preschool. A little boy ran over and kissed me suddenly." At first, Patterson couldn't believe she'd heard Becky correctly. Wait a minute. You were living in Batesville? Going to a preschool and a little boy suddenly ran over and kissed you? She asked incredulously. "That's right," Becky answered. "Becky, I have someone you have to meet." 2 weeks earlier, a University of Central Arkansas sophomore named Randy Whitaker had also met with Patterson, and she had asked him about his first kiss. He said that it had been while he was living in Batesville, going to a church preschool. There was this cute little girl, and somebody dared me to go over and kiss her, so I ran over suddenly and kissed her. That was my first ever kiss. He said he never saw that girl again because his family moved away. Patterson knows a miraculous coincidence when she sees one. She decided to play Cupid and arranged for the grown-up preschoolers to meet on the University of Central Arkansas campus. That was back in 1985. After they met, they dated for 10 months, got married, and have had kisses only for each other ever since. Randy and Becky recently celebrated their anniversary, and they once again live in Batesville, Arkansas, where it all began. They always say you'll remember your first kiss, and I'm sure the Whitakers would wholeheartedly agree. Well, this is your Elmira Baptist Church update for Saturday, October 24th, 2020. And we have gone through heat waves and met inside. And we've gone through smoke and met inside. And we've had beautiful weather and we've met outside. But tomorrow it's supposed to be cool and windy. And when I say windy, there's a wind advisory. Wind gusts up to 50 miles an hour, although I don't think right here in Elmira, but in the Sacramento Valley, Central Valley. And here in Elmira, they're expecting wind gusts up to 25 or 30 miles an hour for tomorrow. Now, the tricky part is, when does that wind start? Right now it's windy, it's supposed to calm down a little bit overnight and then pick up again tomorrow at some point. So this is what we're going to do. You come at 10 o'clock tomorrow. We're going to plan to meet inside for the service that starts at 10 o'clock tomorrow. When that service is done, if the weather outside is nice and the wind is calm, we'll go outside and we will eat. If the wind is just blowing and you one of those things where you pick up your food off your plate to eat it and your plate blows away type wind, then we're going to find a way to eat inside. And frankly, we're going to clear out the ministry room. We're going to clear out our auditorium here. I know we don't have food and drinks in there, but I am eager to have this picnic on the grounds, even if the picnic needs to be inside on the grounds. So we're going to go ahead and have that food and fellowship afterward. We'll make space so that everyone will have lots of room. Remember, bring the things that your family needs for that picnic on the grounds. We won't be providing any coffee. We won't be providing any drinks, any food. Bring the utensils you'll need, paper plates, all of that good stuff for tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, we're going to be back in our study of Mark chapter 2. We're going to watch Jesus respond. Specifically, we're going to watch Jesus respond to criticism. Have you ever been criticized? Of course. But have you ever been criticized unjustly? Yeah, that probably has happened to you too. Well, you come tomorrow, we'll see how Jesus responds to unjust criticism. And if you want, you can read Mark chapter 2. That'll give you a head start on that passage. So come tomorrow. Unless, of course, you're sick. If you're sick, please don't come tomorrow. Stay home, watch the live stream. Now, in the evening, after the picnic on the grounds, we will have a praise and testimony service here inside. Probably start about 12:30, 12:45. Just to let you share your praise to the Lord, the things that you're thankful for. And do some singing, have a short message, not very long, then we'll go home. But then tomorrow evening, Sunday, October 25th, I'm going to head back over to the Greater Sacramento Victory Gospel Crusade. It starts at 7 o'clock. I plan to go right from home unless you want to carpool with me, in which case you let me know. We'll arrange a meeting point, but we'll be up there by 7 o'clock, hear the good preaching, and then we'll come on back. I also plan to go again on Thursday. Now, Thursday, I already have a nearly full van. I currently have one space open in the van. So if that's the night that you want to ride and there's one of you, please let me know. We've had several families travel up there on their own, drive up there. It's a great time. Good singing, great preaching, fellowship. I was mentioning to several of you that it's a reminder there are other churches in our area that love the Lord, want to sing his praises, and have many of the same emphases that Elmira Baptist Church has. So it's been an encouragement to me. Now, a week from tomorrow, November 1st, November 1st, we're going to restart our in-person Sunday school at 9:45. We'll meet in the auditorium, assemble there, 9:45. And then after that assembly at 9:45, we'll have in-person Sunday school classes for all ages. And then at 11 o'clock, we'll meet inside for the service. I just know that going forward, it's going to be chilly and cold and sometimes rainy. So we'll probably be meeting inside for the rest of the fall and the winter. That starts next week. Also, don't forget, next weekend, we fall back. We set our clocks back. And so that's next weekend. Be praying for this Greater Sacramento Victory Gospel Crusade. A lot of good things going on there. And I've been encouraged. Other Christians have been encouraged. I know if you come, you'll be encouraged. But we also want to see souls saved. New people come. I invited a friend who, by his own admission, is not a Christian. Another family member of mine invited a friend. Again, not a Christian. Haven't had them come yet. But it's not too late to invite someone to come with us. Then pray for the Alio family. Their daughter, Annie, passed away this week. Pray for Rose Schmidt as well. And then pray for Jack Kimpton's family. I heard just yesterday that he has passed away in the last week. So be praying for Jack Kimpton also. Well, today's Bible study is from Psalm chapter 5. So take your Bible. Look with me real quickly at Psalm chapter 5, verse 7. The psalmist says, "But as for me, I will come into thy house in the multitude of thy mercy, and in thy fear will I worship toward thy holy temple." But as for me, he says, verse 7, "I will come into thy house in the multitude of thy mercy." Now, we don't have a temple anymore, but I still consider these church buildings to be the house of the Lord, a place we set aside sacred space to worship for the primary purpose of worshiping God. And it helps us to set aside that time. You can worship in your own home. You can worship on your own time. You can worship Monday through Saturday. There's nothing about Sunday that makes Sunday worship more powerful. But it is so important that we set aside a day to worship the Lord. Because if we don't, what happens? We just end up taking all that time. It's like the tithe. I set aside my 10%. I actually set aside a little more than that, but I have a specific number in mind that I'm going to set aside every month. Money for the Lord. It's not that that number gives me more salvation. I'm saved. It's not that that number gives me more prayer effectiveness. I'm not building up brownie points to cash in on my next prayer. No, it's because I love God. I want to see his work go forward, and his work takes money, so we give it to him. In the same way, we set aside time to worship, because otherwise we end up just filling all our days with our own thoughts and our own work and our own efforts. And each person may worship differently. And I don't mean, each person may set aside the day differently. And what I mean by that is simple. In my family, we not only attend the worship service, but in the afternoons, we don't watch movies. We don't watch sports. We don't play games. We set aside that time for reading and rest. Reading and rest. Why? We want that to be dedicated time, consecrated time. And so I would encourage you to set aside Sunday, come out, join us. If you can't come out, if you're homebound, I do understand. Join us by live stream, 10 o'clock. Set aside that day to worship the Lord because he is worthy. I will come into the house in the multitude of thy mercy. God has been so good to us. We ought to spend time thanking and praising him. And we'll do that tomorrow. Regardless of whether you plan to leave your home or whether you plan to be at home, please get up, get ready, get dressed, and join us at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. And we will look at watching Jesus respond. Join us for worship tomorrow.